Spaghetti. Ravioli.
You know, this is all he does between WIAGWs.
Mamma mia.
What? Oh my god, have you seen the news? It's time to actually talk about an anime on this week's WIAGW! Hello everyone, and welcome to Why I'm a Genius Weekly. The blessed day, years in the making, is finally upon us as the anime of Danberu Nankiro Moteru has finally aired. Title, of course, translates to How Heavy Are the Dumbbells You Lift? Or colloquially, do you even lift, bro? As I'm sure we all remember, years ago, I made a video about Danberu. Now, of course, that video was about the manga, but times have changed, and how does the series hold up? We're gonna get into it. But before we begin, I think it's only fair we say a little prayer to our fallen god, Z's. Oh, Aussie Lord of gains and sick country, you died to forgive us for our cheat days. And while I only wish that you could be with us to talk about this fucking literally fit turned into anime series, I can at least be thankful for the legacy that you've left us.
Everyone has a little bit of Ziz in them. Every fucking cunt out there, you're a fucking sick cunt if you want to be, bro. Stop being a fucking sad cunt, alright? Go out, get bitches, but be a fucking sick cunt like Ziz, bro. So that's what we do, bro. That's what the Ziz cunts do. That's what the revolution is, bro. None of these fucking sad cunts. We're all gonna fucking make it, bro. That's it.
We're all gonna make it, bro. Amen. Now, what do you say we take a trip to the Silverman Gym? Let's meet our ladies. As you'd expect, Danberu, or let's call it Dumbbell, is a series about a bunch of cute anime high school girls who do X activity. In this case, it's lifting weights at the gym. But as often happens with series like these, there's a good amount of information about the subject matter that's gleaned along the way. And as I've said in previous videos, I find the subject matter here about people learning how to handle their fitness, manage their calories, their diets, and all the related things related to their health, I find is a truly essential message for my generation, particularly my fellow neets and weebs and dumbasses who desperately need to be indoctrinated with cute anime girls so that we will start on our fitness journeys and obtain the physique we desire for whatever purpose that particular person wants. And that's one of the great things about the series. You got Hibiki, of course, the main character, who just wants to get hot so she can get a boyfriend. Alas, her appetite keeps her eating calorie upon calorie, getting a little too thick around the waist to fit into her uniform, and she's self-conscious about it. She's Japanese. I assume they're adhering to Japanese beauty standards. She feels she'd be a bit better off losing some weight, and so she sets out on her quest. You got Akemi, the Ojo-sama muscle fetishist, whose passion for muscles almost rivals my own! Because when both of us see these seething, writhing masses of muscle, these gods on earth, these Adonises, we both go full fucking mass! And her expertise in the subject helps Hibiki be guided on her fitness journey. And there's a bunch of other fucking characters we meet along the way. There's the friend Ayaka with her super toned abs, Tachibana Sensei, the girl's teacher with a cosplay secret, who in my opinion is the hottest of the bunch, especially in the manga. Xena Void, a girl we meet a little bit later that I won't spoil for you. And of course, there's the literal transforming god Machio, who goes from twink Prince Boy Lover Man into hulking Adonis, literally shrinking in size when he puts on clothes. God, I fucking love that gag. The girls work out, they learn about exercises, they've each got their own goals of fitness, and they pursue them, and teaching us along the way about exercise and other shit that's good to know. Obviously, as is always the case, the animation is not as attractive as the manga. You know how I feel about that. In this case, the manga is particularly beautiful, and even though the anime is pretty well animated, you still just feel that loss, like, damn. Really wish we had the sexiness from the manga, which was significantly more sexual. Even the girl's underwear you feel is toned down in the anime, but they're trying to pander to a certain audience and not get like an NC-17 rating, so I guess I get it. But what is this show for me? What do I think is the purpose of this show? I'll tell you. Obviously, the purpose is to teach the uninitiated basic facts about bodybuilding through the medium of cute girl anime so that more people will get into it. It's that whole Japanese propaganda thing that I feel is going strong. They're using anime to educate the masses. Hey, So far, so good. Happy with this product. I really appreciate how the series starts off with very simplistic, basic lessons about being aware of the kind of food you're eating, getting yourself to the gym period and why you'd want to exercise, and dismissing a bunch of myths. So let's cover those right now. 4 episodes of the show are out right now, and these are just some of the lessons that have been covered in the show. It gets us over that initial hump. Why sign up for a gym? What are the benefits? Why not just work out at home? To which there are many answers. The availability and diversity of equipment, the benefits of having a trainer and the motivation that comes along that, as well as having a social group you work out with to help hold you accountable and to motivate you, that's a big one, etc., etc. Counting calories and tracking meals. The problem with a lot of people's fitness goals is that they're not even aware of what they're currently doing, and you have to measure something before you can change it. That's kind of an engineering basic, and what you're doing when you're bodybuilding or trying to lose weight or whatever is your body is an engineering problem, and you need to get control over the inputs and outputs so that you can decide what kind of physique you want to build. So the way the show starts off by showing exactly the calorie count of every food that Hibiki's eating early on is a super vital lesson that I wish everybody took note of. For my sake, with my fitness history, counting calories was absolutely vital to me being able to hit my goals. Having been inspired by the release of Danberu, I have been really trying to do a good job keeping track of what I've been eating, and you can see my chart right here. I have tracked nearly every single calorie I've eaten over the last several weeks, and as you can see, my weight is going down because I'm sticking to my goals. And I gotta tell you, it feels fucking great. It's not just about lifting weights, people. And tying that back into our list, how eating is of vital importance when gaining muscle. No matter how hard you lift, if you aren't getting the protein and other nutrients you need, you won't gain a single ounce of muscle. Newbies need to know that. A bunch of basic exercises: squat, bench, shoulder press, etc. Setting goals for the characters, with the show being very explicit about the goals of each character and how they are going to achieve them, and pointing out how they're mistaken, like when Hibiki thought that eating all her calories at one time in the day would help her lose weight, when most people agree that is not the optimal way, and that for various biological reasons, that is actually a way to maintain as opposed to lose weight. You gotta know these things. No one little tidbit like that is gonna make or break anyone's fitness regimen, but it does make a difference. And the more you know, the better you'll do. Specifically, the show covers what it's like to work out for absolute newbies, to show how various exercises can be more difficult, even doing a basic squat with no weight, how that can really give you a lot of fucking exhaustion. The importance of form and avoiding injury, because a lot of people go to the gym, have terrible form, do way too much weight, and can injure themselves, which can lead them to a place where they're not even exercising at all, and then they end up gaining more calories because they're getting even less exercise than beforehand. So you got to avoid all that shit. Not to mention, if you have poor form, you're not going to hit the muscle groups that you want to exercise correctly, which just defeats the point of any exercise. Discussing DOMS, delayed onset muscle soreness, and the process of recovery, and how to exercise despite soreness. So many people just won't go to the gym when they're feeling sore at all when they first started working out. And covering that topic is vital to helping people get success. An old bugbear of mine: girls worrying that lifting weights will make them too muscular and gross. Thank God the show dismisses that out of hand. Truly, these are our fucking people. Girls won't accidentally blow past their target of muscle gain or weight loss and not even notice how swole they are without years of dedicated lifting and diet maintenance. So there's nothing to worry about. Ladies, it's okay to lift weights. Much harder for women to gain that kind of muscle compared to men anyway, so it's cool. Peak hours and January joiners, which is what we call the people who join the gym at peak season, like with New Year's, having done a New Year's resolution, and of course then they peter out over the months and weeks to come because they don't actually give a shit, and most people don't have the willpower to stick with it. To which I've been guilty of as well. We all have. Free weights versus the pussy machine workouts, where the show aptly points out that there's nothing wrong with machines, they just don't kind of do the full body, massive musculature workout that you get with free weight stuff like squats. Machines are for targeting individual muscle groups, which are an important supplement to the big body movements. Not a replacement, just an addition. And the general concept about how different exercises work out different muscle groups, which is a very important concept to understand understand. Because of course there's the stereotypes of the chicken legs, aka the curl bro, people who only work out their upper body and totally neglect their legs, as opposed to T-Rex mode, when you only work out your lower half and don't do enough upper body, as well as understanding supplemental lifts like the machines and whatnot. These are all important things to know, and oh, it's wonderful. As the show goes on, you just learn more and more, and it is a fantastic primer just to break you into exercising, period. And let's be real, the kind of people who watch the show are the kind of people who need a little bit of information. I'm no fucking hero. This stuff is really helpful for me too. I could use more motivation to get to the gym. Almost everybody could, and that's the real value I have for this show. It's just a great thing to see. I want my brothers and sisters to come along with me on my quest to fitness, and if anime can help motivate them to do so, then fuck yeah, I'm in favor of it. And see, that's how I view this show, a motivation tool. But that being said, there have been a few complaints about the show, so let's discuss those briefly. Now, the thing about Danberu, I'm gonna call it Danberu, it sounds better that way to me, is that especially at the beginning of the series, the focus is on Sakura Hibiki, our main character, trying to lose weight and not being happy with the amount of fat she has on her body. And so the series goes out of its way to show the kind of food that she's eating and to portray her lifestyle and explain why her body is this way. Because it doesn't just happen magically. Everything is a thermodynamics problem, there's inputs and outputs, the human bodies are not magic, guys. Just complex. However, the anime is quite guilty of depicting Hibiki as having a fairly slender, idealistic figure, despite outright saying that she is chubby and needs to lose weight. Looking at this person, you really would not think that. So the show is throwing mixed messages that are rather confusing. Now, the manga was much better at this. We can see that Hibiki has noticeable flab attached to her body in many more of the shots than the anime. I feel that the reason for this is due to the level of attention to detail that a manga author is able to provide versus an anime production team with many people working on it, which ties back into my general problem with anime as well, how that kind of little bits of information panel to panel get lost in the favor of, you know, churning out this big product fast. However, the manga isn't perfect either, and especially in kind of less important shots where we're not focused on Hibiki's body specifically, her body still looks relatively ideal. And the criticism I've heard around is that this sets an unrealistic body standard for women. Now, we are given the stats on most of the characters. They're, you know, bust, hip, waist ratio, their weight, their body fat percentages, those kind of things. So we have a baseline to understand where most of our characters are at and understand what their targets are. And this is particularly true of Hibiki. But specifically, the criticisms about Hibiki's body type being like unrealistic, we should remember that these are Japanese characters and they have a much slimmer build than most people on planet Earth, as far as I know. Certainly less so than Americans. So I would want people to be aware of that before they find her body unrealistic in its goals. But I must admit, I totally see this argument as ringing true. Hibiki's body does not match the chubby version of herself most of the time, especially in the anime. Even in the shots where she's supposed to look chubby, she still barely captures that at all. And this is a totally separate question than like what looks better to us, like sexually appealing wise, thick girls versus thin girls versus fit girls, whatever. The visuals of her body often just do not match up with what it should look like. And since this is kind of the focus of this series, that is absolutely a fair place to criticize. And the negative consequence of this is that we are depicting a character whose appearance does not match what the stats say, and this might affect some people's understanding of reality, what a person with these stats should look like, and things like that. Although it would be fair to point out that this is only really an issue at the beginning of the manga and presumably the beginning of the anime as well. And as you go on, Hibiki's body type naturally changes as she starts working out, losing weight, gaining muscle, etc., and kind of transforms in its messaging into less of a lose weight, get fit, get in shape manga, into more of a let's unlock our shonen godlike lifting potential, which we see a little bit of in the early episodes with Hibiki boxing and whatnot. But we don't get there for a long time, so the point is certainly still valid here. It's kind of similar to the whole Instagram models photoshopping their waists and increasing their hip and boob size and whatnot, which absolutely is creating a warped reality where everybody has an idealized figure, and it's creating an atmosphere of unobtainable body types for especially women, though this pertains to men as well. This does annoy me, at the very least for realism's sake, which the show should be working towards. However, the reason it doesn't really burn me up is just because that's not what I'm mainly looking for out of the show. What I personally want out of it is motivation to work out. little educational bits about what should I work out today, what exercises are the girls doing that I can get in on, and what kind of dietary tricks do you have for me today. I remember Danberu is the place where I learned about the golden time, or whatever it's called, which is the 30-minute window after you work out where you should consume your protein for maximum absorption into your muscle so that you gain the most muscle. I had heard various things about that, but seeing it quantified in that way was helpful. And again, I don't even know that that's 100% true. There's a ton of debate about all kinds of fitness things all over the fucking planet, but in the absence of conclusive proof one way or the other, adhering to a rule of thumb like that seems like a helpful guide to have. So while I sympathize with people who really care that characters' appearances don't match the described stats of that character, and it's creating like a weird false depiction of certain body stats, I think we should keep in mind that this is an anime and they don't look like real people anyway. So all I'm saying is that gives me enough leeway to just not be overly concerned about it. But to each their own. Now, a totally different criticism I've heard of this show is best summarized in one little phrase I heard somewhere out in the ether. That was, a viewer felt that the calorie counts of Hibiki as she was eating throughout at least episode 1 was judgmental. Now, to give this criticism its fair due, I get where they're coming from. Say perhaps one is self-conscious about their weight, and they're constantly thinking about the food they're eating, and maybe they're insecure about their body, and they feel they're working hard towards a goal and they're just not able to reach it for whatever reason, then these kind of reminders about the calorie intake Hibiki is doing could perhaps feel critical. But there's a reason I use the word judgmental to describe this, because what really is being depicted here is simple reality. For years and years, I tracked every calorie I've ever eaten, and while I fell off the wagon for a while, for the last month or so, I've been sticking to it hardcore, which for me is just me getting back in the saddle. I'm totally used to doing it, and now that I'm in the swing of it, it feels effortless. Counting one's calories is exactly what you should do, and if you feel a negative or judgmental vibe from simply displaying the calories that one is eating, I would simply propose that that says more about your mind state than the show doing anything. Even most people I know who are very fit, many of them still find counting calories almost like weird and clinical and uncomfortable. Maybe I'm the outlier here, but I find counting calories the thing that literally every human being should do on the planet, and I don't understand why we don't. I will go to bat hard for the app MyFitnessPal, which makes it super easy to count all the calories you eat. You can even type in the name of the food. It'll find it 95 out of 100 times. It'll pop up there, you can select it, it'll tell you how many calories you can eat, and you'll know how far you progressed towards your cat for that day. I understand there's people who maybe have personal issues about this stuff, but I am extremely critical of my own physique, and I am not even close to satisfied with it. I just feel like if I'm able to do it, everyone should be able to do it, right? There's no judgment here. Now, when Hibiki's friend Ayaka was kind of lambasting her for gaining weight, she's like, oh my god, you're gonna burst out of your skirt. Even that wasn't done in a malicious way. It was kind of done in a matter-of-fact way. And I wish this is how we were able to approach these issues. If you're too skinny, too fat, or maybe even too weirdly muscular and you're taking steroids or not, there's a middle ground to be found here, and we can all respect each other, right? I certainly try to. But putting all that aside, let me just reiterate what I think the show should be about. We should watch Danberu for the love of lifting, for the feeling of making progress towards our health goals, for whatever reason one wants to achieve them. Just to get a boyfriend, to fit into your cosplay costume, to be a hulking, muscular Adonis, and to get new ideas and motivation to help us get there. And so as I always do when I discuss this stuff, let me just plug my boy, Scooby1961, because that's what this man has been for me for years. I learned basically everything I know about fitness from his YouTube channel, from his website, and have used the tools he's provided to achieve the modest results that I've been able to get. But I know I can do much better. I think every person on the planet can do much better, and that's why I find such joy in watching this show. I hope everybody watches it and takes out as many positive vibes as they can. Let's get paused, my dudes. Anyway, everybody go watch Danberu, Nankiro, Moteru, and have a beautiful time. Let's move on to the fucking packages! Transition. Hey everybody, if you want to send me a package to open on WIAGW, send it to the address listed below. 3 letters has been working out pretty well, right? Let's get to it. Here is one from Alan. Alright, what do we got here? Hey Nate, been watching your channel for a good while now, ever since your Gurren Lagann video. Favorite anime of all time, and your video somehow made me appreciate it even more. Well, thanks. At the time of writing this, you just did your Devil May Cry 5 video, and I swear, bro, I half expected you to be joking with how badly you misunderstood the gameplay. Oof! But it's all good, cause it's like me in Kingdom Hearts, I just don't get it. One day I will get it, give me time. Quick question, have you ever seen Samurai Champloo? If so, what are your thoughts? Keep up the great vids. Alan. I have seen it. One of my favorite of all time, Shinichiro Watanabe, is based as hell. The ending fight against what's-his-face, Karya, I watch all the time and is super duper duper sick. Hey, check this out. Look at this little drawing he did here. You and me. Best buds ever. Implying I'd ever be your fucking friend. Also, congrats on quitting your job. Best of luck, man, Alan. Hey, thanks, buddy. That was real sweet. Best of luck to you. Okay, on to our next one from Ryan. All right, what do we got here? Dear Sex Goddess Nate. Ha, my proper title. I wanted to thank you for your dedication to educating us plebes in all manner of anime and vidya. Truly, we are humbled. You're welcome. Many times you have expressed the importance of niche communities to yourself, and I must agree wholeheartedly. When watching your videos, I feel a sense of belonging, as I know there are others with a blood devotion to the BGE faith. Glad to hear it. Nate heads assemble. You've now surpassed 100,000 subscribers in glorious fashion. A phoenix ascending from the ashes of mundanity. Clad in Mia Mafva 2 robing and purple sunglasses. My question now is this. How will you balance maintaining the niche feel of your channel with the need for continued growth thanks to your new financial independence? With love, scholarship, and Chad intellectuality, Ryan. P.S. Excuse the white copy paper, I like my sensibilities austere. Wow, this guy broke out the fucking thesaurus for this one. All right, Ryan, well, fair question. How will I keep my niche appeal? A very, very fair question. And I'll tell you how. It's by having a shill product that is the WIAGW that you're watching right now. I mean, believe it or not, this is supposed to be my mass appeal show. I guess I'm not that successful at it. But to be fair, I've got other mass appeals type stuff, like the Smash videos. And when I do make my big anime review videos, those do fairly well. So for me, it's like this. It's a balance between trying to appeal to a large audience and making sure that I feel creatively satisfied with what I'm doing. And even if that meant I made one show that was purely shilling shit, and I made one show that was like my fun, desire to do show, I would be satisfied with that. But hey, if I can get by just doing on things that are fun, that's what I'll do. Yay! And lastly, we've got one from Tristan. All right, dearest best guy ever. I write to you this day to thank you for inspiring my fitness odyssey with your original Danberu video. What a timely fucking letter! My efforts to appease our fitness goddesses have resulted in my life improving to an exponential degree. People, oh my God, we've got testimony from people who've improved. Yes! I owe you a debt of gratitude for inspiring me to get swole, so thank you again. Your timer advice from the most recent Danberu video has also been super helpful, so thanks for that as well. Anywho, I must ask, what inspired you to get swole a few years back? Thank you for continuing to be an inspiration to me and many others. Keep it real out there. Warm regards, Tristan. I'll tell you, the very first time that I wanted to get swole was because I watched Dragon Ball Z and I wanted to be like Goku. My first fitness stumblings were done in elementary school. Now, I never really knew what I was doing back then and never got very far. It was in middle school when I started doing workouts more seriously. Or was it high school? It was like the beginning of high school, I think. And it was in that period that I did my legendary 50 pull-ups. One day I'll hit 100. Not even that big a deal. But really, it was basically all anime shit, because anime shit is what gave me motivation to do anything in life. I wanted to be like Goku. I wanted to be like Luffy, Naruto, and Ichigo too. They were all inspirations to a different degree. These days, I do it mostly just for myself. But I must admit, at the back of my mind, I always think that one day I want to do a cosplay of Kamina, and I will not do it until I have a worthy physique, which I've got a little ways to go to achieve. Now, the good news is Kamina isn't even that swole. This is a very achievable goal. I just gotta put on a little more muscle and lose maybe 20 pounds or so. Which, by the way, with my tracking, I'm closer than ever. I estimate I'll be there in 2 months, maybe a little bit longer, but not for long. Thank you for the wonderful messages, everybody, and let's keep the train running. Send your stuff to me, cause I need more to open and it would be super duper fun. And we'll continue that on next week's WIAGW! hey, you like what I'm doing here? Why not support me financially on patreon.com/bestguyever. I also have a subscribe star, which works in exactly the same way. Pledge $1 and you get into my patron chat. Pledge $5 and you get access to my monthly cast. A new episode will be coming out not too long after this. Maybe a week, maybe two, something like that. Check out the podcast stuff I do on The Procrastinators and my One Piece weekly show with hypocrites, The Podcast. Don't confuse it for those German bastards. I'm coming for their heads. Follow my Twitter for updates and things I'm doing at BestGuyEver. And watch my weekly Twitch streams at 7:30 on Saturday evenings, Eastern Standard Time. Twitch.tv/definitely bestguyever. Okay, time for some dynamic stretches, people. We gotta wrap this bad boy up to launch into our next fitness journey. I wanna see all you motherfuckers going to the gym today. Or if you don't got a gym, don't worry about it. Watch some episodes of Danberu and learn some goddamn exercises. Then do some exercises and post in the comments how much do the dumbbells weigh that you left!